Well, hello and welcome back to the Daily Brew, the daily devotional, where every day we drink a new brew of coffee and we see what God is brewing for us in the Bible. Yes, it's cheesy, but it's true. And you join me in Auckland, New Zealand. Welcome to my kitchen. This is where we are today for our recordings, and we are continuing on with day 66 of our Bible in a Year plan. Let's talk about the scriptures we're reading today. Psalm 31, 1-8, Mark 13, 32 to 14, 16, and Leviticus 15, 1-16, 34. So those are our scriptures for today. But before we go any further, let's get into the brews. And we are having ourselves some Robert Harris Arabica Gold. This is one that really pleasantly surprised me the last time I had it. So I thought I'd try it in a plunger, if you're French, plunger. That's probably not French. But as, of course, our friends at But First Coffee have helped us brew this today. So if you're still not sure what the ratios are that we're using, let me tell you. I'll load it up here. It is 23 grams of coffee and 340 mils of hot water brewed for 5 minutes. That's how we're getting our plunger for 3 cups, apparently. 3 cups on that one. But I've just brewed it for 1 cup. Let's see if I can get the flavor out of this. Now, it says on the pack, sweetness and intensity. So let's see if we get that in the plunger today, which of course is the lowest of our filter options. It's the middle range. Let's give it a try. You definitely get the intensity of the coffee. In the plunger though, I'm not really tasting as much of that sweetness. It's not as sweet in the mouth. The intensity, it's a dark, rich coffee, so I'm getting that intensity through the coffee there as well. But look, I'm not, this in the plunger is not my favorite. This is not my favorite. It's not bad though. I'm not waking up in the morning excited about that. It's fine. It's good. It's a lot better than the last Robert Harris one, which I said about this in the last taste as well. Okay, so as a plunger, not the biggest fan of the Robert Harris, but it's not the worst. It's definitely mid-range for me. So give that a try if you want to have a mid-range coffee. I didn't sell that to you very well. That's it though for the brews. Let's get into the Bible, the reason we are here for today. I don't know about you, but I love movies. Movies are brilliant. I'm not sure if we've talked about this very much on the Daily Brew before, but maybe we have. I'm not sure. Anyway, I love movies. The movies are the best for me. And the best movies are the ones based on true stories. Movies that have depth are usually the ones that have high drama. Normally a rescue of some sort is involved and lives are actually on the line. This is real, this is true, and you feel like you're in the story. The greatest rescue story, of course, of all time is the story of Jesus rescuing humanity. The danger of getting older and hearing the story of Jesus saving humanity time and time again is that it can, if we're not careful, it can get watered down and we can lose its amazingness, its sense of wow, like genuine awe and wonder. It can lose its weight of its significance. But the greatest story is the rescue story of what Jesus did for us on the cross. I can see God's hand at work in my life as I look back time and time again where he has rescued me from situations. And it's encouraging for me that as I move forward and grow and make more mistakes, to know that God is still with me, for me, and will be there to rescue me if I need it. Our scriptures today really reinforce this idea of God being a rescuer. But while God is in the business of rescuing, we also need to be in the business of something. God is in the business of rescuing, but we need to be in the business of trusting God to rescue us. The problem with trust is that it's not easy, especially when you're talking about something or someone that you can't see physically. Then if you add the trials of life in, trust gets even more and more hard to grab a hold of. David said in verse 5 that he commits his spirit into God's hands. And if we're really going to trust God, if we're really going to trust him, we have to be willing to commit our spirit into his hands. To commit is to make a firm decision with no intention of looking back. To trust in God fully is to commit to him with no intention of looking back. And no matter how hard life gets, I'm not looking for a way out. I'm committed to God. Jesus actually echoes these words later in Luke. And for me, this shows the significance of these words. Through the psalm, we see that three things that God can be for us. Number one, our refuge. Number two, our rock. And number three, our rescuer. Remember, in all things, in Jesus, we find our ultimate rescuer. When it comes to trusting God, I think a key component to trusting him is love. When we love Jesus, it's easier to trust him. Look at the woman in Mark who anointed Jesus with the expensive perfume. She loved Jesus, and it was from her love for him that she spared no expense in pouring out that perfume before the Lord. Scholars reckon that this perfume was about a year's worth of wages. That's a hefty sacrifice to offer in love for the Lord. And we see that it also carried significance as Jesus references the fact that she was actually preparing him for his burial. This is an act of love. This is an outpouring for Jesus, and it was a huge sacrifice that would be remembered for all time. Remember that in everything that we do for Jesus out of love, for him, nothing is wasted. He sees it all as a beautiful thing. That's what our love for God is. It's a beautiful thing. Our love for him helps us to trust him greater. She poured it out before him, entrusting him with her sacrifice. She could have used it for herself, right? She could have used it on others, but she trusted that Jesus was who he said that he was, and out of love for him, poured it out as a sacrifice for him. I do love Leviticus. I do love the book of Leviticus, and for many reasons. One of them, as we've talked about before, is the fact that this book offers us a unique insight into how the ground was laid for a great rescue plan of God to happen through Jesus. God didn't wing it, right? He didn't wake up to one of his majestic sunrises that he made. He didn't just wake up and go, yeah, okay, we really should do something about this. No, from the beginning, it was designed. He was meticulous in his planning. He was intentional about its design. The Day of Atonement we see in our readings today are the background to the death of Jesus. We see this reflected through Romans 3:25 and Hebrews in many places. Look at the detailing foreshadowed of the Day of Atonement and what Jesus did on the cross. It's a crazy parallel. It's interesting too how we have the saying scapegoat in our society, and it comes from this sacrifice. Jesus was that for us. Our sin was laid on Jesus. See Isaiah 53, 4-6 for more on that. We're going to read that later, but if you want to skip ahead and do some extra for experts, feel free to do that. Leviticus is a book that has layers and connections to other books of the Bible. You can't read the Bible as a normal book. You actually have to dig and see what God has hidden and layered through all the books. Books connect to books, scripture to scripture, and it all points to Jesus and to the reality that through Jesus, everything has been renewed and restored through his rescue so that we could have a relationship with God again. A lot of R words in there. Verse of the day. Yes, it's time for verse of the day, the super sneaky extra bonus verse. Let's have a look at it. Psalm 31 verse 6 says, I hate those who cling to worthless idols. As for me, I trust in the Lord. When I read my Bible, I like to think not what it means for others, but think about what it means for me, like for me personally. And if I'm honest with you, I think for me, I've been known to trust in worthless idols, but I want to be someone who trusts in the Lord. That's my goal. So how do I do it? Well, I think love him more, spend more time with him, and be willing to sacrifice whatever for him. That's probably a good start. And that is it for today, the Daily Brew done and dusted, day 66. Thank you so much for joining me here today in my kitchen. I pray God is speaking to you through these scriptures as much as he is with me. I want to encourage you, keep on going. You're doing so well in this Bible devotional. Keep on digging, keep on going, and keep on seeking out that gold. If God is speaking to you, feel free to let me know what he's saying. I'd love to hear in the comment section on YouTube or in the DMs on social media. It'd be fantastic. Hey, that is it for today, though. If you haven't done so already, follow and rate this the podcast and subscribe and click the bell on our YouTube channel, and that will keep you up to date as well with every devotion we are releasing. Bless you. We'll see you tomorrow, day 67, back here on the Daily Brew. If it is the start of a new day, have a great rest of your day, unless it's sleep time. Good night, sleep tight, and we'll see you tomorrow, back here on the Daily Brew.